Hey Lawn Care Nation, so this video is going to be a little bit different. Rather than being a lawn care or landscaping related video, it's more of a hardscaping type video, and that is sharing some details on how I was able to lift this large concrete slab behind me that had been sinking and had sunk about 2 inches over the past few years. Now originally, like I said, because this isn't a lawn care or landscaping issue, I didn't originally film a video of me doing the process, but I was able to pull a little bit of footage from the security camera up there in the corner that I ended up posting on social media as a short and on some other platforms. And through that, I got a bunch of questions and DMs from people asking for the finer details on how I actually was able to do it. So I figured I would now then film a video and kind of run through the process and all the tools and things that I used to be able to do that so effortlessly. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the slab. It's a large slab. It's 8.5 feet long by 6 feet wide. It's at the entrance to the front door of my house. And at this joint over here, this expansion joint, this slab had sunken about 2 inches. Now, when I bought this house 14 years ago, it was only about an inch down, and the previous owners had basically just filled it in. You can kind of see a little bit of the remnants there of some rubberized material that they put some little rocks in there, and they just basically kind of built a little ramp just to kind of minimize the tripping hazard. Now, upon further inspection, I discovered that this particular slab had been raised professionally in the past, and I start to see traces of that around the concrete in other areas. But you can see a drill coring hole here where they eventually filled it with some concrete, put some stones in there to match the exposed aggregate. There's another one over here that you can kind of see the traces of that they used to fill, and still even being filled professionally, it still sunk. So I started to do some research on what I could do to fix the problem and all the sort of the different methods, and I discovered that a lot of people were having a lot of success in raising their concrete slabs themselves using readily available expanding foam that you buy at your local hardware store. So I'll show you what I did. Okay, so the gist of it is essentially you're going to lift the concrete slab up, and then you want to fill the void underneath with expanding foam. Now, with the expanding foam that I'm going to be using, and that you see a lot of people on YouTube using, is just your standard canned expanding foam that you get at your hardware store. These come in a couple of different varieties, the most popular being the standard expanding foam, and then a large gap version. That's what I have here. I'm using the DAP brand, Max Fill large gap foam. One of the other varieties that is very popular is the Great Stuff brand that you'll see a lot of people using. The biggest thing I think is just to get the expanding large gap foam, just to fill those bigger gaps. Now, the other thing that I have to mention is that this isn't technically the right type of foam to use for this project. When you get this professionally done, they're using a 2-part foam that can expand up to 150 times, and it's designed to be structural, where it can actually lift the slab up on its own. So they make those holes, those larger holes, pump the foam in there, and the slab will actually raise from the foam expanding. Now, this foam, it will raise smaller slabs like little sidewalks and things like that. But for a large slab like this, what you want to do is actually mechanically raise the slab itself, and then put the foam underneath, let that cure, and then release the slab. And that's how I did this essentially. So what I did was I purchased these Cobra Torx heavy-duty concrete screw anchors. They're 3/8 by 3 inches. Came in a set of 4 with the appropriate 3/8 concrete bit. Now, as you can see from here, they just look like a standard lag bolt with a built-in washer on the end, which makes them ideal for this particular project. I purchased 4 feet of 5/16 inch chain, and again, like I said, these bolts are perfect because you can fit them through, and that washer type head on them doesn't pass through the chain link, so it allows you to have something there for it to grip. With these particular anchors, you'll see here from the package in the top corner that in a pulling scenario, you can see from the top corner there, it's got a pulling and a hanging scenario. In a pulling scenario, these are able to hold up to 1,518 pounds per bolt. So that means between the two of them, that's over 3,000 pounds of strength that those can hold, which makes them perfect for this. I don't know exactly what this slab weighs, but I'm pretty sure it's not 3,000 pounds. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to drill 2 holes and set those anchors in through the chain so that you've got something to be able to lift the slab up with. So what I essentially did is, and you'll see here that I didn't use the bit that was included, and that's only because I borrowed a Bosch hammer drill from a family member, and noticed that there was already a 3/8 inch bit in the kit here. So I figured I would use that since it has the appropriate type of connection to be used in that hammer drill. And this made the process super easy. It took about 30 seconds to drill each of the holes. Was very, very easy. And I would suggest renting one of these. Would be well worth the $20 rental fee or whatever the case may be to use a proper hammer drill. So that was the first thing I did. I basically laid the 4x4 post, as you can see in the photo here, and I put the jack on this slab here that was not sunken. I put a scrap piece of 2x8 underneath the jack just to distribute the weight that that jack would be holding, just to kind of prevent this slab from cracking if that was at all an issue. I put the 4x4 post on top of the jack and then draped the chain over the 4x4 post so I could see which links to use for the drilling. And then I just drilled my 2 holes there. There's one there, and then one right there to be able to put the anchors into like that. So essentially I just put that kind of like that, just picked an appropriate link and then put the anchors in. I used my Milwaukee impact gun. This is overkill with a socket, but I had it, so I figured I would use it, and I use that to easily just zip those anchors all the way down. You could use a smaller impact driver, and I've even seen people just use a regular wrench or socket and a ratchet to be able to do this. But essentially, you're just gonna drape that over the wood, find the appropriate link that you need on that side, drill your 2 holes, and then screw that down. And then besides that, the next step that you're going to do is with these spray foams, they all come with this like little straw little thing on the side there. I've got one, a spare one that I have here. So then I just found a drill bit that would fit that straw. This is a 5/16 inch drill bit, and I use that to make a series of smaller holes. And I did 4 of them throughout the front face here, about 4 inches in from the edge. So there's one there, one there, one there, and then another one back here, right there. And with those holes, I drilled them all the way down through the slab until I hit the dirt. I also did a second row behind it, about a foot behind those ones. There's one there, another one here. You can see where the anchor hole is. So there's one right there. There's another one right there, and one back there. And that allows you to be able to easily put that straw down all the way to the dirt. So then once you have the slab jacked up to the height that you want, it's time to fill that void. And basically you just go through each of the holes with your can of spray foam, put the straw down the hole there, and then just start putting the foam until it starts coming out of other voids. For me, what I found was I was able to, because it was such a large 2-inch gap, I was able to deposit an entire can of that spray foam there into each of the 8 holes that I made. So initially I used 8 cans of spray foam, and then I left the slab jacked up to allow 24 hours for the spray foam to cure. Now that spray foam says it cures in 8 hours, but I thought I would just leave it for 24 hours just to be on the safe side. During the course of the evening, I decided, had a feeling that I should actually add some more foam. So the next morning, I actually drilled 4 more holes, and I added one over here, added one over here, one over here, and one over here. So I've got a total of 12 holes. I used 12 cans in total. Now the nice thing is with that last set of holes, the foam started to come up out of the holes, which told me that I had completely filled that front void, and the slope of the slab on the back side was already closed off, that when I started filling the foam here, it was all filling in. I left that for an additional 12 hours with the whole jack and apparatus, and then I finally was time to lower the jack and apparatus down, which I did, and the slab stayed completely in place. I removed everything out, and it's been about 6 days now. It's still perfectly set the way I did it, and we'll have to see long term how long it lasts, but it was very easy to do. Again, that foam, or the type of foam that you're going to buy, isn't really structurally made for this, but just going through YouTube and seeing a lot of people who have done this method have had a lot of success, with some of them lasting 5-6 years with no issues at all. I figure if it does eventually compress and start to sink again, this process was so easy doing it myself that I can always raise it up again and refill those holes, adding more foam to get it back up. Eventually there'll be enough foam in there that it'll sit level. Now the biggest issue that I had is when I initially started to jack it up for the first time, the slab would not raise. It was binding on something, and I wasn't sure exactly what to do. Then I decided to take a look at the actual crack there, and it was pretty jagged in there, and thought, there's probably something binding up in there, not allowing the slab to lift. So I took this chisel bit that comes with the hammer drill kit, and another reason why you should maybe rent one of these, and put the unit on the hammer only mode. And I was able to take this and actually chisel through the entire crack there, just to clean it up and make sure that none of the two sides were touching. So I went along the whole crack and just kind of chiseled that up clean. And after I did that, it lifted with absolutely no issue. It just, as you saw in the video, it just comes up super easy. So that was the only issue. So I would make sure that your expansion joints there are completely clear and free, so that nothing's binding. I would pre-drill all of your holes, so that once you have your slab suspended and hanging, you can just go in and put your spray can foams and start to deposit that, so that you're not having to drill while it's suspended up in the air. But other than that, it was a very easy process. All right, so hopefully that answered all of the questions you guys had on the specifics on how I did it, and what tools and items I needed to purchase to be able to do this project. If you have any other questions, just be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer them.